we should get on into Singularity versus NYYRIKKI. We could look into, NYYRIKKI versus Singularity, previous split. That was the first W for Singularity. But this split, though, looking into Singularity. Let's start with Singularity. What are their core strengths?
Oh, you guys are looking at me for this. Oh, no. No, I'm kidding. I think the most important thing to talk about for SNG is Pichone. I think Pichone has definitely looked like their strongest member. I think there's a lot to talk about when it comes to SNG in terms of, I mean, I said it on Monday, right? I think they really need to go back to the drawing board in the drafts, right? I think too commonly they were showing their hand too frequently, and it was kind of a thing they did last year as well. Last split, rather as well, where they would kind of just give away what they were looking to do super early, and that's fine. You know, it's one thing to throw down the gauntlet; it's another thing to give your opponent such an easy way to counter what you want to do so frequently. And I think it's a bit of a shame when you do have creative players like Tatui. Pichone seems like he is very willing to play quite a few different champions. And I think even to a degree, having Hepe and Spiky in the bottom lane, they can give us some very weird things. We know from Hepe's days back in London esports in the Division 2. So I want to see some kind of change. And I think for me, it has to be fundamentally drafting simpler comps to use, but also I think play around Pichone. He seems to be a very strong individual player and talent that they might be able to leverage properly.
What about NYYRIKKI, though? They're coming in with the victory versus Bifrost. They're looking good.
They're coming still with one of the best AD carries that we have on the NLC, Azita. And even though, yes, he tried his luck with the Jinx, flashing twice, they still took down Bifrost because he was such a huge force onto that Jinx. Like this guy on hyper carries, if he gets out of lane without being punished, you need to have your eyes glued on him because he will carry your team fights.
Both teams can bring strength into this game, but the champion select is upon us. So let's jump into that one to see what is going to be released by Pawp. Pawp is always looking for some weird angle. Let's take a look if he's going to do something weird.
On that subject,
I
want to see more from Pawp. I haven't necessarily been satisfied with what I've seen so far. So you either put him on a champion that he's 100% comfortable on, something that is his comfort pick. We saw him picking the Viego back-to-back because that's what he got the W on, right? So put him on something that he's very comfortable on. He's very comfortable the pathing and the matchup that he's playing in, and let the top side of your map shine.
Now, normally I would say for Pawp, that means Karthus. Pawp's Karthus is kind of what he's like lent on occasion, but that is what he's most comfortable on from what we know. And Karthus, I know when 12-10 rolled around, there was a lot of talk about him actually just being a stronger champion. The games are slower, you can't necessarily invade him as easily.
Top bot lane as well.
You can put him top, bot, mid, doesn't really matter. So maybe this could be an option, even as far as going just to first pick it, to be honest with you. I think this is going to be a draft where, to quote from Gorborg, it might be a little bit overloaded. We're going to probably see either Gwen, Wukong, Talia. One of those three champions has to be up because we see the Lulu, the Senna, the Renata, and the Ahri banned away.
Anyone fancying Enchanter's bot lane?
Yeah, anyone fancying those Enchanter's bot lane? Right now, it looks like they're not going to be up. Looks like 2 out of 3 of those are going to be up because Jinx is also going to be taken away from Azatol, and I definitely understand that from SNG's point of view. But like I said, I want to see them draft something simple to play. Let the composition play itself. Lilia's gone. That's a takeaway, obviously, from Pawp. Will we see something like the Karthus come out? Honestly,
Gwen is up, though.
Gwen is up, and that's such a huge pick to me.
Talia, oh my god.
Talia. It's an overloaded draft. Now, I think you go Talia, that's fine, but
hold on, I need to see if Aero plays Katarina. I need to see if Aero plays Katarina, guys.
Well, we might... Oh! Nocturne immediately into the Ashe. All right. So that says to me...
They
didn't even think about it. So Wukong still there. Gwen still there. If SNG really want to just take all 3 of the champions.
Just to remember, like, Wukong is pretty fine into Wukong. He doesn't necessarily have too much trouble into him, but we also need to see where Talia is going to end up, right? Because Talia might end up being in the jungle after all, or we have it mid. We've seen even crazy Talia's going all the way down the bot side of the map, right? So it is a triple flex at this point. Really good read on the Wukong as well. I think the matchup is pretty playable from both sides. But remember, every time you lock in Nocturne, you need priority lanes, or you run the risk of getting invaded and somebody stops your level 6 speed run.
And I think at the very least, drafting Ashe alongside Nocturne is probably going to secure you bottom lane priority in most cases.
And vision
AD
on the
to
Wukong.
AD and vision on the Wukong, so you're going to be able to consistently track you know, whoever's the jungler, because Wukong can still be put into the top side of the map if the matchup needs it. And we're going to see our second Twitch of the day. Definitely interesting trend.
I thought it wasn't persuading enough from Bifrost.
Yeah, I mean, They've left open the Gwen though, and I think that's definitely a big pick to give over, especially when it looks like NYYRIKKI are likely to play sides now, would be my best guess. Or at the very least, if they do play on team fights, it's going to be Ashe Arrow into Nocturne and Gwen trying to find a flank onto this Twitch or the Nocturne. Now, NYYRIKKI, what are their options? I think you ban away Yuumi, and you ban away another support that maybe you're scared of being paired with this Twitch that can really buff him up. But realistically, I think the only other option to that is what, Karma at best. But honestly, if you're NYYRIKKI, you can R4 that and probably live pretty happy, so you don't even have to ban it away yourself.
I'd like to see potentially maybe even a Swain from the side of NYYRIKKI. I think Ashe and Swain give perma vision in the jungle. So this Wukong cannot make moves, this Taliyah cannot make moves. You've got the hook shot, you've got then the Vayne Eye, the Swain Eye, which I don't remember which one of his spells it is, but like you get perma vision, so you're gonna have 2 champions that give vision and 1 champion that takes vision away. I think so far NYYRIKKI are on a very great foot, and they also have full blue champions, which we do like a matching composition.
You're going to take away the Jax looking into the top side. They need to remove that. We still don't know where Wukong is going to land alongside with the Taliyah. Could be Taliyah mid, could be Taliyah bot, could be Taliyah jungle.
I'd say it's probably looking like a Taliyah mid at this point.
So Katarina?
Well with Wukong. Okay. Katarina is playable here, but you need to see what's happening on the rest of the map, right?
Just giving you the window. I'm just giving you the window.
Katarina is Giga playable here. I'm just going to say that because you have Ashe Arrow, you've got setup with Nocturne. I just said it. But I don't think Arrow is a Katarina player. He might prove me wrong.
Twisted Fight is going to be removed. As the last one, they finally need to reveal something from NYYRIKKI. Where should they look to reveal a lane?
I mean, I think I would like to see Karma as a takeaway. I think it will provide you all of the priority or some kind of mage. Either way, Vel'Koz is definitely an interesting take. I'm going to hold my breath because obviously this could go to the support role or go up into the mid lane for Aero. And I think it has a pretty decent matchup into Taliyah. If memory serves me right, it's been a very long time since I've seen the matchup. So we'll see whether or not Aero just wants to pilot it into this Taliyah. They're expecting it in the mid lane. Now over to SNG because again, a lot of the enchanters kind of gone spoke about the Karma. We're going to get the complete opposite of that. It's going to be a Pike in the bottom side with this Twitch. Double invisibility into roam, into death, I think is what the game plan is going to be for SNG. And we've had a whole bunch of fun hovers for this final pick. I'm really not sure how SNG want to round this one out.
I love this so much. You've got Pike Twitch, you've got Wukong, you've got Taliyah. We're getting Tattoo on his Riven, and I'm seeing 3 immobile carries. I'm seeing Gwen, I'm seeing Vel'Koz, and I'm seeing Ashe in the bot lane. 3 immobile carries just sitting there, Pike roaming them out, Twitch roaming with him.
And more importantly, do you know what I see? NYYRIKKI have almost perfect blue synergy if they decide to lock in this Braum. And
if
SNG,
they throw away the Vel'Koz.
But wait, it gets even better. NYYRIKKI, blue logo, right? So they've got a full blue composition.
If they don't though, because Vel'Koz is pink.
Blue build for Ashe as well.
Look at the background, look at the background. That's okay. Purple light, we can work with that trouble. SNG, 3 green champions that they locked in the last one. SNG, green logo. I'm liking it. But anyway, real analysis. Riven, definitely an interesting
Some fashion analysis on the draft.
10,000 IQ, man.
Welcome. But Riven, definitely something that you want to get snowballing ASAP, I think, into Gwen. Gwen should eventually come to a point where she will outscale it on the side lane, but it's going to take some time. Riven is so strong. First item, second item completions. Gwen, yes, she does spike very heavily on that first item and very heavily on that second, but I think the power the power curve is slightly higher for that Riven. So I want to see that happen. I think when you've got Twitch and Pike, you're probably going to look to get out of lane as frequently as you can, roam up towards the mid lane. Those are my expectations for SNG, but I'm really not sure how they want to play out the game.
I want to bring the bad news. You've got a very short range to ADC, unless you have your ulti. You've got double melee, jungle top lane into Braum and Ashe. Like you walk into them, you're never gonna reach them.
This is not a 50-minute game. This will not be a 50-minute game. Not even
if
close.
I may,
say that.
if I may,
I'd say that.
I expect this to turn into a scrim game very quickly.
There you go. I believe on that statement, and I want to know your predictions really fast. Trouble.
I'll go for NYYRIKKI here.
Okay.
Okay. Nameplates off. I actually think SNG would unironically win this game for the Banderas, but I expect that NYYRIKKI will win this.
Send them on.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want Singularity, but at the end you're going to go for NYYRIKKI.
My heart actually wants SNG to win this game.
Okay.
His heart is blind because he took nameplates off.
Okay, a new champion select. New champions coming in hot for NLC Division 1, Week 2, Day 2. So without further ado, it's up to you guys at the desk on the Costas Hip Brain in NYMYRA.
Good luck breaking this one down.
Bifrost Dusty, I sleep. Singularity NYYRIKKI, I wake.
Real stuff.
That's what I needed. That was like coffee directly in. That was...
I'd say, like, they've had enough of these whack drafts we've had for most of this day. Azir, Comet, nah, none of that. I mean, there is so much to unpack from this. Jamada mentioned it in terms of the Vel'Koz and Slayer. That's an old Season 6 matchup. That's what Jensen would play back when he was playing on Cloud9 over in NA, when he was potentially some of the peak of the NA at the mid lane pool at that point. We've got a lot of globals. There's Talia and Nocturne. There's a lot of sneaky stuff. You've got Wukong clone. You've got Twitch. There are so many different breakpoints for this game.
Yeah.
For me, this game isn't necessarily about playing all your combos perfectly. It's about understanding in your head all of the ways the players can go right and wrong. It's about the intelligence these players have in regards to what is a very strange draft from what we've seen.
It's a peculiar draft indeed, NYYRIKKI, as we are getting onto the Rift for game number 4. It was a tough one. Bifrost Dusty was a tough one.
Yes.
Neither team played bad, just their drafts made it very uninteractive.
The most entertaining face-off, shall we say.
But this is something else.
Yes.
I'm excited to see how this goes. I'm waiting with bated breath, but there is one thing I like about this Pyke. People are hard to kill. It's hard to whittle away at the health bars. That last percentage can be the hardest to finish up. Pyke will just straight up execute them.
Wait, that's Pyke's theme music. Just comes in with the steel chair. Speaking of that, speaking of steel chair, did we get the LT Grey Brawl? That would have been very topical. By the way, there is actually
that would take some serious foresight.
Speaking of skins, we did talk about the blue synergy. Sadly, not got that. Say there is a very blue Vel'Koz skin if they wanted to go towards that and confuse everyone with every skill shot just being incredibly cerulean. And in fact, there it is, Frozen Watcher. Cool. Glad I got one of them.
Skin.
Got to talk about one of the skins because I like League skins. I'm a big fan.
Same. I feel sorry for Yorick players. If you play Yorick, I mean, first of all, you kind of deserve
Yorick Mori.
You kind of deserve it for playing Yorick. Let's be real. But
true.
there's an element of empathy for you. I was GP. It was a long time before we got another skin. We technically had the FPX one, but
So funny story. My the duo key partner I played with for a very long time.
Your booster, right?
That's the one. Yes. That's how I got to Diamond. He played Yorick and Karthus, and I'm like, could you pick anything more obscure? I mean, when you talk about mains of champions, you do normally expect more of what Tatsui is playing, right? On that Riven. Now, this in itself is a lot to unpack because this was a champion that was almost permanently banned last split, but not for Singularity. That was for NYYRIKKI's old top player in Patoshka. Patoshka, obviously outgoing from this roster this time, but NYYRIKKI have played with the champion a lot. The coaches prepped for it. A lot of the players, in terms of the remaining ones, have played with that champion too. Now they have to see what it's like against it on the other side of the Rift.
We totally missed Flipper just take away red buff and Raptors from Pawp and then just walk straight through mid lane. Completely strutting his stuff Okay,
that's a fair call out. That's a fair call out because, let's be honest, we might have been a bit lackadaisical from the other games in today. They've turned us onto a bit of a lower gear, but when you have that level 1 from the Braum, it allows you to do stuff like this. Now, level 3 hit from Piccione. So there was a flash on the Vel'Koz, but if there was an overstep, potentially a way to get that big stun combo down. But I mean,
Pawp actually loses out here because he tried to go for that gank, didn't quite get it off.
Yeah.
And now has to figure out what the action plan is. Banderas is way too pushed here for them to really pull this off unless Tatsumi goes in with a flash chi burst. That's the only option.
Do you have an ignite?
True.
Way. W's up, exhaust is up. Should not be an easy pick. Pawp actually just going for the Raptors, is that a respawn at this point? No, it wouldn't be not at that point. But yeah, the Raptors, Krugs as well. Okay, look, today has thrown us for a loop. Trying to get ourselves on a bit more of an even kill, but
this actually, I think, is okay for Flipper, because Flipper's quite happy to leave that.
For sure.
That's going to put that camp on reset, so the level 2 camp spawns up. He can now full clear bot side, go crab, reset, and then just get back on the map. This is actually kind of okay for Flipper.
And that ties into weaves into a larger tapestry of what happens if NYYRIKKI get bot side vision control. If you get pink wards put down there, you got an Ashe who can fire out an arrow onto Piccione's Talia, who doesn't have a cleanse. They've got a heal. Haven't even gone anything towards, that anti-Ashe stun synergy. That, to me, seems like a pretty good combo. So I think that, Jamada said, nameplates off in terms of what we expect from the compositions. Liked a lot of what Singularity had. I I think that both teams, it's not a clear draft win on either side for me. I think that both teams have significant weaknesses if they're the ones diving in. I think if you've got Nocturne going in very deep into a Talia field, it's got a little bit awkward. On the same side, if you're diving into Gwen, Vel'Koz, and Braum on the other side, that gets really difficult. So yeah, hopefully it doesn't stall out because these teams go, hang on, that's a bit scary to dive into the open more of that enemy team comp. But it's just worth putting it on the table that actually, I feel there's a lot of burden of execution to come out of this game with a win.
Now, Flipper finally finds out that his Raptors were taken away as Tatooine not going to be able to connect the broken wings, unfortunately, onto Banderas, and Wave's going to crash into him, so he should be okay. Riven, champion who actually has, you know, pretty solid wave clear, obviously slightly capped by her cooldown early, just because CDR is very important for Riven players.
Very true.
But, you know, you do still have relatively good wave clear. You've obviously got this broken wings that you can use 3 times, all AoE, empowering the auto attacks. You've got the key burst as well, which is also
You have a
AoE.
lot of like incidental damage where you're dealing damage and it's just like, oh, everything's an AoE. That's kind of fun. Of course, way back in the day, Riven was a huge Tiamat champion to help augment that too. The current build is a bit all over the place. I think there are multiple items you can go towards. We have seen Gore Drinker kind of items. This is a game with likely low-range champions diving into the Riven. I think Gore Drinker could have some value. Of course, we have seen lethality over the years. We've seen a lot of ability to flex around. So yet to see if we're going to see something like an Iron Spike whip item to go back towards a bit of the older wave clear augmented build.
Well, for now, it's a relaxed start. We have spicy picks. We have interest here. But
Oh my god, a Dragon's Dang!
it is still 12-10. So
Yes, no,
it's
which-
still the
and with
durability patch.
12-10
It's still a slower pace of the game from what we're used to from the last couple of years.
Yeah, and again, for people who are still kind of coming into their first couple of games on the patch and don't understand why, several reasons. Everyone's more tanky. Also, towers do more damage. What does that mean? If you are trying to kill people on the 3rd wave dive, which is what we've typically seen from pro play, you start getting control of that lane, you make sure that you slow push that wave into tower, and you slam them with the dive, like this. Or something like this on the tower, right? Where in top lane, you would normally expect a kill on 12-9, or at least someone of like a jungler to go into the enemy jungle and make something about that. That's really not something that's easy to do on this patch. So because of that, you go back to more of this jungle advantage, getting farm advantage, and waiting until it's about the dragon setup and the herald setup instead. That's where it really comes to a head.
Yeah, exactly. And we've seen a lot of plays around these dragons. Teams typically have been okay to give up the first couple. That is something that hasn't changed. But it does mean that there is less gold coming into these later dragon fights because there's just less kills gone on. So
That's a good point. Yeah.
We are seeing kind of less explosive kind of 3rd and 4th dragons on the map. And then it's not just about that. It's okay, they're not killing each other. It's all right, what are they actually going to be able to do with this? What is the game plan from here? So Rift Herald I see having a lot more impact on this patch, purely because it's a way to inject gold into your teammates. So when you get to those 3rd and 4th dragons, you do have that additional gold to work with.
And there are so many other ways that has implications too, because obviously one of the bigger changes of this patch, we've seen a lot of globals today. And we've seen that less so much about Twisted Fate, who basically doesn't deal damage anymore. He's a glorified gold card bot. But when you have something like your Talia ultimates, you have your Nocturnes coming out of the jungle, who doesn't mind actually not ganking early. He just farms up until level 6. Senna, Ashe, so many champions that can just say, okay, we take down a side lane turret, okay, we can just play the map now. We can just go play along extended lanes, play in the cross-map state. And as we can see, less about side lane dives, can definitely get ourselves... Oh, there's the Ashe arrow!
Oh, they're able to get it in. Everything lands down. They're going to flash away to safety. The life form disintegration ray. Resistances mean nothing to the true damage from a hero, but he comes in with a whirlwind Pawp, trying to find the Cyclone. Banderas has also made his way over. Now Tatooine is about, but not going to be able to get close enough in time. And durability patch, baby.
So we talked a little bit about what happens if you get vision control with Ashe over bot side. Those arrows become a real threat, and especially when you do have immobile carries like the Talia, like that Twitch. You can see the angle, but with all of this said, ultimate's expended. NYYRIKKI get mid lane priority, get to head to this first. No Pike ultimate, no Braum ultimate, everything else. Look, see what they can do. Oh,
Actually blocks it out, and Flipper takes first blood, but Singularity. Tatooine has popped the ulti and is looking for it, but now has to be careful because the Braum passive is on. Concussive blow starting to stack up as the wind slash is not going to close enough distance and take down the Rift Herald. Herald over to the side of NYYRIKKI.
That was... My mind's telling me no, but it should have been very much body telling you no as well, because Piccione flies right into the enemy team, half HP, doesn't get anything done, because it's not like you have something like a stopwatch or someone else to peel for you or dive in at the same time, and feels like Piccione just misread the situation, maybe a communication fault from Singularity, but NYYRIKKI walk away with a kill for that first blood much earlier than some of the games we've had today, and they walk away with the Herald. Can they lose something on top side, though? The three obviously not having that ultimate, and don't have much reason to use that Ignite just yet either.
No, you kind of wanted that kill lane out, but they are looking for it. Jeppe going to connect the snare off. They've got the hook to hook him out. Jeppe going a little bit low, Banderas low, but Jeppe doesn't have the death from below, so Banderas will survive.
That felt like the kind of players like, oh, shall we give it a try? And they thought maybe they could get something out of it.
Oh, no! It's so sad!
Oh, gosh. I was genuinely thinking another tower shot could come through at that point if maybe a slow from something would come through. Gosh, so close.
Pawp knows what he did.
We've
take the cannon.
like I said, now obviously you talked about some nostalgia from some of the players early in stage, talking about your Taxes and your Dans and so many other players. For me, I've actually cast Pawp for a great number of years. Talked about it a couple of times at broadcast. He's had a bit of an emote game. That one is not what I've seen from him. Normally see some happier emotes. You can't get anything out of it. And yeah, but he's still sat here, not even level 6.
Yeah, hit 6, man, then you can go for these ganks, because it's a great setup. But the Lifeborn Disintegration Ray into the ulti. The flash comes out, Flipper trying to get underneath the tower. The fear will go off, and a couple of tower shots as well. Nobody's dying today, but the health bars are low. We're actually seeing some damage being done though, Myra.
I'm about to say, I'm happy that they're pulling the trigger. Is it working? No. But I am happy they're going for it, at least trying to find that advantage. I think when you do have these teams where, as we said, there's quite a lot of similarities in how you lose the game. It's like, if you dive in first, you're probably going to lose that extra bit of gold, particularly when you're playing... I'm not going to say it's like-for-like comps, right?
Oh, hold on.
But there are a lot of similarities.
Jeppe's level 6.
Can do quite a lot of work. Does have 6. There's a wave in favor of Tatari as well. It's pushing into him. That's exactly what he wants right now. Banderas might have to walk up to accept that wave. Tatari holding it there.
I think he saw them. He knows they're there.
There's literally water outside the trade rush. But either way, what the maths works out as, if you have 4 minutes, you can freeze. He sees the freeze. He just has to go for it anyway.
Hook comes in. They're looking for Banderas. He's got himself the needleworks. Jeppe will not do it, and the wind slash from Pawp will find the kill.
Again, like, so Tatui trims the wave and says, yeah, I got an extra 4 wave. How the heck did Spiky get there?
I think through big mistakes. Big mistakes indeed. Down he goes. Azator gonna get the kill stolen away actually by Hero. Man, this is a game of just taking anything from everybody here.
Yes. Should people be where they are kind of on the map right now? Wondering about that myself, but felt like topside. Banderas saw the wave and was like, yeah, I know you're here. I still kind of got to try and do something with this wave, otherwise it's going to be in a really bad position. Bot side, I don't know, just Spiky taking a walk, gets spotted out and dies.
Yeah. Yes.
Not really much more to describe than that. And
good analysis.
So,
that's what you're getting paid for.
I think what it boils down to is, you know, we talked about this when we were loading into the game. It's like, it feels like this game is about these players understanding how they win and lose the game, and they're trying to do all of these mental gymnastics in their head. And it feels like when they're thinking about this, the game is moving on at quite a fast pace, and they're just getting caught up in the decision-making of the game. And it feels like they're not quite in the right position that they want to be. Pawp just... Yep, cool. There you go. Letting him know his presence.
I mean, poor Banderas. I mean, this is what you needed to do. This is what we saw earlier on in the day. When we saw a Gwen earlier, it was for XL. It was just like, just camp the Gwen. Make sure that, you know,
Gwen
let what happened with Cries happen.
Gwen is terrifying. Yeah. Don't let Gwen do Gwen things. And in fairness, actually, the Riven's doing pretty okay in terms of the laning phase. Has been helped an awful lot. Question is, what does that translate to? Because again, we saw earlier in the day, lane bully, this was the Olaf, right? Not doing so much. Oh, we've got cooldowns being used finally.
Lights are going out, the arrows are coming down, and everything has been thrown onto Singularity as Pawp pops the Cyclone, but he has nowhere to go. Abagnale going low. Stopwatches the death from below. Tattoo has a wind slash, but it's already been used, and he will lose his life. Azator finds a double kill. And you're watching Bifrost.
Wow! Just keep watching Arrow again!
Shone, you are a cinema. What the hell was that?
And it's I mean, it's Piccione again, rather, that dives in. It's Aero there to respond, rather. And there are so many things I want to say about this and go, oh, heck, that just felt like it was the wrong decision, right? Because it feels like, again, both of these teams want to avoid diving into each other. NYYRIKKI found themselves a window where Singularity didn't have everything in place, and with a really well-placed Hawk shot, NYYRIKKI had enough information to make these big plays. Yeppe is making a play.
Yeah, kinda. There was a minion there, mate. Unfortunately, not gonna work. Abigail puts the thumbs up. This game is the best emote game I've seen in a long time. Everyone is on it with the emotes.
What I said about Scrim Game. Feels like Scrim Game to me. Maybe not quite as many kills as that, but very much trying to. Again, appreciate the willingness to go towards that. We need to check in on a couple of things, obviously, because it is now a 4,000 gold lead to NYYRIKKI. Let's bought them a couple of items. They got first items on a number of these characters. So you can see that actually Azador gone for the blade first on Ashe. This is something that we saw a lot back before, way before Mythic items, thinking about season 6 and 7. That was when Ashe was, I remember Prey and Gorilla on the Rocks Tigers. They played a lot of that. Yeah. A lot of that lane, and Ashe could become really, really sticky with Blade having a slow effect back then. Of course, it still does now in terms of, like, it just gives you that extra ability to stick, chase down, do relevant damage. Ashe not always the most crit relevant. Coming in here, and speaking of that, Ashe has the ult back up. Spiky has cleanse, though, and feels bold enough to go clear this wave.
He's able to do so as well, so Tao will survive. Spiky definitely playing a little bit risky there, but it does pay off. And it feels like Singularity now going, okay, we need to maybe put the brakes on a little bit, because we have been getting caught a little bit too much. Although Piccione,
even those particularly on the brakes, this would be a hilariously slow-paced game for 12-9. This is a fast-paced game from what we've seen today. That's just the reality of what we have. I mean, no, there's no enchanters in this game. We still got ourselves at. I mean, dare I say it, you know, I'm kind of missing the Leona Nautilus to just pull the trigger when you feel like having a tussle. NYYRIKKI potentially putting themselves into a situation where Piccione can use that Weaver's Wall to greater effect. Tried it a couple of times, been put in the dirt a couple of times for the effect. Hero just pulling the ult just for poke catch.
What comes in? Two-man Cyclone. They've got the ulti. Pawp has to jump back out. Instantly caught up. The Everfrost comes down. Flipper throws out the ultimate, and he is launched into Piccione's pocket as Banderas coming in with the haircut. A double kill picked up for Azador. And NYYRIKKI just pulling the trigger.
Well, it was a response to the first team to dive in. Always was a little worried about it. You're diving into, I mean, the Vel'Koz ult was gone, but you're still diving into the Ashe, who's happy to kite backwards, the Braum that'll help them do that, and of course this Gwen. It's always the Gwen dealing so much damage, no matter how much you put them down. Singularity get a little bit trigger happy, find themselves at a point where they just get punished for what looked like a pretty okay engage. I got pretty hypey there. I was like, wow, three-man knockup from the Wukong. Maybe if that could go into something like a Talia combo, could work out. It just didn't combo together, and what looked like an okay engage fizzled out.
Imagine that on 12-9. That would have been an ace.
That would have been
Actually, to be fair, the Vel'Koz ult would have one-shot everyone. So
yep, there you go.
there is that. Well, though, actually, I say Vel'Koz, you know, you've got the Void stuff, so I can't remember what it's actually called, but, you know, the true damage.
True damage. Oh, it's a research thing.
Weird little triangles, yeah.
Yeah, it's the research thing by disintegration. See, I'm a colorcaster. I'm allowed to not know these things.
Yeah. I don't like Vel'Koz, so I choose not to know these things.
I think actually Vel'Koz was maybe the second champion released when I started playing the game. My first one was Jinx. Oh, Vel'Koz was my second champion when it was released.
So you started around the same time as me then?
Would have been very close. Sometime in season 4, around then.
Yeah, I think I was season 3, like the end of it.
Yeah.
That's when I got into it. My first champion was Shyvana, interesting enough. I always like it when Shyvana comes back. Not this AP I spit at you. Like, I like actual Shyvana, you know,
I played a lot of Shyvanas.
Jump in and start just down.
One of the very first skins I ever bought was the Iron Scale Shyvana skin.
That was the first skin I ever bought in League of Legends.
That was that one.
And my second one is Firefox Ari.
That was my first skin.
Yeah.
There you go. That and Aether and Kale back when it had a really cool...
A lot in common. Both lanky, both bought the same skin. What can we say? Arrow coming in, followed up by Flipper. We're not even ready for these fights. Broken Wing's actually not going to land, and wow, Banderas doing a lot of damage with that snip. Pawp's going to have to throw the ultimate out, but Hero actually chasing in. If he gets a good slow here, there's a world where he can do some work here. Has got Jeppe, but comes in and cancels out the ultimate, and Pawp actually takes the opportunity to jump in forwards. Spike has the ultimate, and they're lined up beautifully. Death from below! Jeppe finds the kill.
It's an overreach from NYYRIKKI this time. Saw Singularity punished for something maybe a little larger scale in the mid lane. Feels like, again, if you're not landing the knockout punch, the turnaround damage is really nasty on both sides of the rift. So some life left in this game from both of these teams. Singularity chasing their first win, and NYYRIKKI trying to capitalize on what was actually a pretty superb performance from them earlier in the week to get their first win versus Bifrost, of course. Incredible late game performance, and see if they are destined to see themselves in another late game performance in this one, as it seems like most of our games heading towards that today, of course, with the new patch. And we left ourselves now with waiting for those cooldowns to come back up. Paranoia back up on the table and seeing who's going to pull the trigger next.
Oh, we are, you know, only 20 minutes in, but there's still a significant...
That was a trigger pull.
...lead. That was a trigger pulled, but obviously Ashar at level 11, not the longest of cooldowns, so... NYYRIKKI quite happy to throw that one out. If it lands, it could be a pick. If it doesn't land, they just step back and wait for it.
But yeah. Again, it feels like in the games today, the big plays haven't actually been the main character or the main deciding thing. It's been the setup to them. It's been vision control to say, oh, we know a Twitch is coming into a lane. It's been vision control, as in this game, to say, we have a control ward in this bush. The Ash arrow is going to come out of Fog of War. Hell, even in this game, remember Ash had some buffs recently within this season. The Ash arrow speeds up hilariously fast over time. The longer distance it goes, the faster it gets. It gets to whip fast speeds. So NYYRIKKI potentially using that to and some more powerful CC as they look once again to play around this mid game. Haven't really managed to blow open the game as much as potentially. Well, actually, no. You say that they have a good lead. Yeah. But after that play, bot side, I'm sat there like, well, really need to make this land on the Salt, and we'll talk again about closing out the game.
Okay. This Kraken Slayer for Spike is going to be very important. If Soul's picked up by NYYRIKKI, resistances on resistances, to be honest. It's going to be very, very hard to actually find any damage for Singularity. And, you know, your Riven's not ahead. Your Riven's equal into the Gwen. You don't want that. You want the Riven to be ahead. Pichone hasn't really been able to achieve too much here on this Talia champion, who has typically been touted as one of the most broken mid laners in the current patch. Great foresight here from Hero, picking up, you know, an old counter. Pawp being chunked out, and honestly, one more Q might be the end of days. As the Ash arrow hits in, the cleanse comes down, they instantly jump away. Everybody's going to throw everything out, and Pawp is going to go down already. Azator dominating, opening fire onto Tatooine. Another kill is going to get picked up by Hero. Not going to land the ultimate there. And it's just 2 quick kills to the side of NYYRIKKI. They can turn this into the dragon.
Feels like a bit of a weight to the wallet on that one. NYYRIKKI actually do find their target, and honestly, the heavy lifting is all by Aero on that Vel'Koz, who is under very little threat. We saw what happened when Singularity last tried to dive onto him and just didn't work out. NYYRIKKI finally managing to get that Ash arrow on target, burns a cleanse, get to dive in, and that heavy lifting beforehand spelled doom for Singularity. Now it's a Soul point, it's that Mountain Soul, and though potentially NYYRIKKI missed a couple of shots that they wanted to take a little earlier into the game, still in a commanding lead, looking like they're going to close this one out.
Definitely looking like this is their game to win. They've got themselves a 7,000 gold lead. And it is interesting, you know, how even so with that, they definitely have to pay a lot of respects just due to the extra resistances, the extra survivability, because, you know, you can't just rely on guaranteeing the one shot onto one of the squishier members here. You need to make sure you have to set up the vision, because if they survive and then turn the fight around, that gold lead suddenly evaporates. So this feels a bit more like a smarter play than just looking for a blind fight. Let's try and turn your shine towards the dragon. They got the vision in the area. Absolutely no vision from Singularity
on heading towards that. Now, if this was a 2-item switch and you had something like a Kraken Slayer yourself and a Hurricane, would be very risky, but NYYRIKKI, they get that vision control. It helped with the Ash, it's helping with their objective secure. Now, though Tatooine is going to take themselves an objective bounty onto the side of the map, it is a drip against the deluge of NYYRIKKI advantage.
Tatooine able to clear out the wave as well, but the problem is arrows are going down in the mid lane. Tower will be falling as well, and Jeppe on the flank with Pawp. This might be their one opportunity. It's actually the Q goes down from a Hero, dodging out on another one. Jeppe has been spotted out though, and Pawp needs to try and find the opportunity. Jeppe has to run away. That's going to be all she wrote, really, for the side of Singularity. They thought they had the flank, but they lost it, unfortunately. They can't find anything else. Meanwhile, Banderas He's cutting through this tower like it's nothing as they're jumping in with the ultimate, gonna get the fear off. The Everfrost is flashed away, and he is running into the team. A kill picked up for the side of Flipper, and now Tatooine is on his lonesome. Got Spike in the pocket, Jeppe coming in on the flank as well. There's the Cyclone. 2 members caught out. Big block though by Abagnale to block out on Spike's ultimate, but is still doing a lot of work here. He's slowed, he's got himself one shutdown. He's looking for another. He's almost able to get himself another kill, being picked up with the Ignite by Tatooine. Jeppe has to go in for a cheeky stopwatch to try and survive as he is cut down by the snip. Spike, the only member remaining for the side of Singularity. We're 24 minutes in NYYRIKKI, and NYYRIKKI finally show us that you can play this game fast on this patch.
They've not going to close out the game just yet, but it is about just done. Pick up that soul, get themselves a huge Baron power play off of this. That fight in the base got a little close for comfort. It felt like, again, potentially with all of the cooldowns used onto Piccione a little earlier, maybe Spikey could get some work done. When the Twitch opens up with this ult, you start questioning, because Azor isn't actually behind the shield for a lot of this fight. Spike is still free hitting, and an AD carry free hitting on this patch is still doing decent damage, but a little bit different when Gwen gets one empowered Q onto you and you have to flash out.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Gwen.
Yeah, that's Gwen.
That's Gwen for you. Like,
Gwen
wow, cool. I'm doing damage. Gwen.
Yeah.
And with that amount of gold, you can again just see reason after reason for why this champion has been so hard to deal with, not just on this patch, of course, on the last ones as well. Now, NYYRIKKI walking away with that fight, looking for another arrow.
Yeah, they're able to hit it, but a good wall comes down into the block up for the moment. Paranoia being thrown down by Flipper, a hero. Actually quite happy to be on the other side. He throws down the life form disintegration ray. Piccione able to survive. The teleport's coming in. They're bringing in the backup. But Tatooine's going to be going oh so low. One by one, they fall. Azor finds a double kill, looking to make it more as the dunk comes in from Jeppe. Able to take down at least one as Abagnale will lose their life. But NYYRIKKI are into the base even further. The third inhibitor will be falling down, and Singularity are running out of options. Jeppe still has the Death from Below available, but has to be so careful, trying to swim back towards his team, back towards safety, as Piccione trying to hold on with Spike, but the knockout comes in, and a hero doing a lot of damage. The slow comes in from Azor as well. Another Q goes a little bit wide as the tower holds on for just a moment longer. Flipper is going to step forward, almost goes down to the turret. Spike, and now turning it around. There's the bop from the monkey. Pawp able to get the damage. Jeppe misses out on the hook and has to jump away from the slow. Azor got his own slow in his pocket. Spike, though, chasing for a little bit more. Not going to find it. 26 minutes on the clock. 3 inhibitors down, but Singularity hold fast.
Yeah, I can't quite close it out again. You can see NYYRIKKI have no problems taking down the first target, and that typically is going to be this Wukong who's so anemic at this point. 0 and 5, not really much gold in pocket, and that's the easy part. The question is, can you shut down the Twitch afterwards? They've only managed to catch Spikey the one time. That was the time, actually, where I remember he was behind enemy lines. That's the one death that this Twitch has ended up having. And suddenly, you do that the next time, you know, we're talking about, hey, what would happen at that Baron start if there was a Twitch with 2 items, with the Hurricane, with the Kraken? Well, now he's at 3. There's a Blade chucked in there too, very strong item on this patch. Potentially, there is a small, minuscule margin where if Twitch goes untouched, something interesting happens.
Might be a problem, though, if they can't contest his Elder. That's where they have to find that window. If they lose the Elder, Spike's front line and the rest of the team just die way too quick.
Okay, this is it. Last chance saloon. You get towards that Elder. You got 3 inhibitors down. Honestly, the minions might do the work for them. NYYRIKKI is still very much in control. Look at the damage that arrow has. Just, that is unfair. That is absolutely disgusting.
Okay, well, a hero apparently just ignored the damage buff, the damage nerf patch, basically.
Energize stacks, baby.
That might just be it. Pawp's been spotted out. He's being chased onto a monkey spin, monkey down. Flipper will knock him up, and the Cyclone will not save him today. Pawp will be losing his life as a hero times that Q beautifully. Elder Dragon be damned, the Singularity are running out of options. We were talking about that last chance Saloon. It looks like Saloon was in a different town.
Yeah, they were not ready. Sucker punch. They was like, okay, well, maybe we can head towards an ally. Well, no, you can't really. You have to do all this wave clear duty. They try and do a token effort to say, can we get Yepe close in there, and Spiky is opening up the shield.
He's dead. The opportunity has just melted before their very eyes. Shut down for Flipper. Pichone needs to get away, get the hell out of Dodge, but he can't because the Gift of the Elder takes them down one by one. Yepe can do nothing but watch as the 30-minute clock ticks over. And NYYRIKKI take down Singularity.
It's a little bit unorthodox. It is a couple of compositions which I don't think we were particularly prepared for. You know, we thought that there was going to be a lot of those enchanters, a lot of these death balls grouping up as 5, sticking together. And we did see the knockdown was a bit more standard, but yeah, it did feel like this was a game of a little bit of theory crafting in-game and saying, okay, how do we play this out? There was a lot of very awkward trigger pulling before we started to get out into a more clean mid-game from NYYRIKKI.
Yeah, no, completely. I actually think it's safe to say that I think NYYRIKKI had a pretty good read on how to play the current meta, because I think a lot of the other teams today we've seen, it's slow because they're not entirely comfortable yet. It feels to me like NYYRIKKI are playing this patch how it should be played. I think, you know, we made jokes about this, the current patch being a little bit sleeper, but I think as weeks go on, we'll see teams adjust to it, and that's the kind of play I expect to see in, you know, 2-3 weeks' time.
Actually, as any of these teams where you know how close last split got actually in regular season, heck, we saw JDXL drop down from almost assuredly tied first, second, down to top 3, saw teams missing out in playoffs in the last week, the last couple of days of the regular split. These kind of games, they might not mean a lot now in terms of the viewer's eye, but these teams will be thinking about that and saying, how do we just make sure we can smooth this over, play something reliable, and make it through? I'm glad that there was a bit more punch from these teams in terms of like, let's just go out swinging, and they try to pull it off.
Yeah, well, they did indeed. NYYRIKKI, really, really good game from them. We're going to throw it over to the analyst desk to talk a little bit more about that game, so over to you guys.
Thank you so much, Brian. And NYYRIKKI and Singularity are not able to take this one. NYYRIKKI finishing the perfect week for them, finishing off Bifrost, finishing off Singularity as well. But this game, gonna be naughty, it was not close.
Very naughty.
Not even close.
You talk the smack, you just don't end up winning. It's just the way of League of Legends sometimes. Yeah, I mean, it was a game. But I will say, I actually half kind of agreed with Jake's point.
Okay.
To a point. About how NYYRIKKI have been playing, you know, I think even on Monday, they had a fairly decent idea of how they wanted to play the game. Against Bifrost, I think, you know, mid-game fumbles, those are just things where, hell, I mean, they can just happen to any team, really, and it turned into a bit of a fiesta. But even in this game, you know, having the Taliyah counter in the back pocket for Eero with the Vel'Koz, like NYMIRA pointed out, that's an old school counter. That is 5-6 years old. So it was very cool to see
Tale as old as time.
Tale as old as time. So it was really cool to see them pull that out. As for SNG, I mean, I'll let you take the reins on that one. I don't know how you feel about SNG.
I don't particularly hate it because I always go with like a bunch of question marks in the draft, and now I understand this is a university project and a lot of these players come with niche picks. And even though I am a big fan of Tatu in the top lane and playing carries, I think the Riven here was like doomed to fail. Playing into Ashe Braum was so extremely difficult. You see how the Braum was like even more difficult for Tatu to play into. I think had it been just the Ashe, it would have been okay, maybe with a Karma on the side, but like the passive from the Braum being able to be stacked so easily from the other laners as well. You saw Tatu getting in, doing so much damage, in the end it just was not enough, because once the C would be laid down and then he was dead.
Yeah, I think actually, honestly, the Riven was playable until the Braum came in. Until the Braum came in, yeah. And not only that, it had a lot of value into the Twitch too, and Twitch was the other thing. I just don't think we were able to see SNG unlock a lot of the conditions to really make a draft like that work. I think that's the kind of draft where if I see it on 12-9, I think, all right, great, you can turn this into a bit of fiesta, you make it a bloodbath, things can get rolling, the Pike gold starts coming in because you start finding those assassinations with the double stealth.
Not on 10.
Not on 10, it's a little bit too hard, I think. And also, you know, big props to Banderas in the top side. I think he really did a good job of just kind of recognizing I'm being camped. He even threw up the tent a couple of times when he realized he was going to get 3-man.
Now, I like that you're talking about him because he's specifically the interview for this game coming in from NYYRIKKI. Banderas, hello! So you went camping today, weren't you?
Yeah.
That was a lovely emote you throw out there on the top side.
Yeah, it wasn't the most fun game, to say the least, but we made it work.
I mean, we got to balance. You play Gwen, you get camped. I mean, they also need some fun, no?
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping for a more interactive top lane, but he decided against it. Him and his team, I should say.
Okay. Tell me something. You guys bringing in the Velkas, as Jamada was saying, like an old school counter pick to Talia. Who came with that idea?
It was Aero himself. He's pretty confident. Well, he's sounding pretty confident for this game. So he decided to go for the Vel'Koz. We had other picks that might have been better on paper, but we ended up going for comfort, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, we know one of the other picks that would have been better than Vel'Koz, the same.
He's going to sell the Katarina match. He's going to talk about the Katarina constantly. I need to ask you something, and correct me if I'm wrong. It seemed like NYYRIKKI, until at least 20 minutes, didn't need to do anything because Singularity were providing you guys the required tools to win over them.
Yeah, I mean, at one point, if they stop playing tempo, then we can kind of just chill and play like we usually do. We don't need to make any plays. We just take Drakes, take Herald, towers, and then we win slowly. And they kind of gave it to us. So as long as we don't die when they try like flippy stuff like they did in top lane, then it's pretty straightforward, to be honest. That's why I called that it was a bit boring for me.
So basically, we've been thinking about it. We've been talking about it. The caster desk talks about it as well. You guys seem to be having like a pretty good grip on what's meta right now, even though it just shifted so quickly. And there's new members like you, like diving into the team. Some of the remaining ones staying as well. Do you think, like as a team, you've got a pretty good read on the meta right now, or is it just working for you?
I think, I mean, we mentioned that we had a pretty bad meta read in 1.9. That's kind of because we were preparing for the new patches that were coming. It fits our champion pool pretty well. And I think we're starting to show that it fits our team pretty well. There was never really any doubt for me that we're going to make playoffs. But I think with the patches coming now, it's even better. And I'm even more sure now, to be honest.
Okay, question outside of the game to wrap this up. Is this going to be a good weekend for you after kicking Bifrost and Singularity with the perfect week?
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy my weekend.
Love it.
With some more League of Legends solo queue on 12-11.
Some more League of Legends, 12.10, man.
No more league now.
No more league, yeah, right.
No more league now.
Banderas, thank you so much. Good job on another big perfect week. See you, man. Have a nice one.
See you guys.
You got us.
Another one.
You got us. There you go. They didn't need to really do anything. Singularity were providing the victory towards them. Was there any way Singularity could pick this game and win versus NYYRIKKI?
I think Singularity provided wins for a lot of teams in the league, to be fair. But I think, like Banderas kind of said, they were a comp that was realistically playing off tempo, and they had to just consistently play fast-paced, throw their bodies at plays. If they weren't able to do that, then realistically, yeah, I think the result was always going to be what we saw towards the later stages of that game, where you have Pawp, you have the Riven jumping in, and they're just getting CC'd, and they're just getting and pretty much CC chained to death. It's not even like they really got to move too much. And I think that's just the nature of that draft. If you didn't snowball with the Pyke, with the Riven, it's just too volatile of a composition. And NYYRIKKI put together their comp in mind for SNG, probably throwing a curveball like that.
You know what? I like seeing this type of Singularity, though. I like to see the one, like Banderas said, that has to work off of tempo, that have to make the plays, that have to work together, because having to work on tempo means that the communication needs to be flowing really fast. You've got a Pyke, you've got a Wukong, you've got a Twitch. Everybody has to roam at the right timings. They have to find the picks. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but at least you're playing a very active early game comp that can snowball.
Outside of the box, that's what Singularity is known for, and they bringing it up on Champion Select. And I have the pleasure to talk once again with the jungler from Singularity. Pawp is with us for the interview. There you go, Pawp. Welcome back. I mean, you told me on Monday you were going to win versus NYYRIKKI. What went wrong, man?
Yeah, well, the patch is tough, I think, for us, especially because we have some limited scrim time. So, yeah, it's tough. I think our read is difficult, especially just because the meta right now has a lot of must ban champions and scrims, right? So a lot of champions we don't get to scrim just because people seem they're OP like Tilia. So if we don't get to play Tilia into range comps and stuff like that, or we don't get to practice certain things. So
okay, so let's take this step by step. You brought in a spicy champion select into this game. But I want to understand, how did the Taliyah work through the champion select? You got the secure Taliyah, and then you shifted to the mid lane, or was that always the plan, to bring Taliyah into the mid?
I mean, it's a flex, right? Like, we can both play it. Okay. But seeing that Wukong was open, I think Wukong's a pretty strong jungler. It works well with Taliyah. And yeah, we just kind of decided it'd be all right. Most mid laners don't play range characters, but I think, yeah, we probably missed that era had Vel'Koz games.
Tatuya was the one bringing the idea from the Riven to the top side to deal with Gwen, and that's why you provided a lot of resources to the top side to get Tatuya ahead. Was that the plan?
Yeah, I mean, like with Wukong Pyke, you can't really do anything into Ash Braum, especially with Nocturne behind them. So you just need to find something on Gwen. I think like once the Herald fight goes south, like we're a very volatile team, right? So yeah, it kind of snowballs out of control.
Okay, I know that sucks, especially since things are not going very well for you guys. And honestly, big props for you for like coming every time on the interview after every loss and like showing up with a smile and everything. I just want to ask, like, when it comes to like the team and the meta, you always pick like all these very aggressive early game sort of compositions. And I actually commend your team for that. And is that something that you guys have been actively talking about, like playing more aggressive early game? Because there's been a lot of talks around like, oh, we chill, hashtag we scale late game, we pick Kog'Maw Lulu. But then there's also the other side of the coin, like we saw with JDXL, which like we'll pick like a heavy dive composition, very active team.
Yeah, I mean, our game on Monday, right? We had like Kog, Lulu, and just like general scaling, and we were just kind of like, okay, just wait, and if enemy makes a mistake, we're gonna win the game. Enemy didn't make a mistake, we made mistakes, and then we lost the game. So we're kind of just like trying, we're spitballing as much as we can, just trying to find different things. We're always gonna have like less practice than other teams, so we need to kind of be more extreme with our takes. So yeah, that's kind of our ideas right now. We just need to find some ground, some plug and play comps for the future.
I hope you do, guys.
I'd like to thank you for the honesty as well. Now we know that, okay, scrims are not coming as much as you want, and obviously that's going to affect when the big patch is hitting the League of Legends. So thank you so much for that one, Pawp. Best of luck through the rest of the splits. I know you guys want that W, and it's going to happen. I hope so. I hope a W is coming in, and then we have another interview with another sort of perspective into the game. So thank you so much for these interviews, Pawp.
Thank you.
Best of luck.